Please come in. You're right on time. The door only opens when the clock strikes midnight. Georgia and Hannah are preparing to broadcast from the belfry. Just like this old bell tower, they have many stories to tell. Some old and some new. Follow me up these stairs, but mind your step. Ah, they're waiting for you.
Oh, it's because I bonked it. I bonked the mic. I did a big bonk. Bonker-Rooney. Bonkstermeister. 5,000.
Okay.
Were you going to say something?
Hey, actually, like in general, or?
No, you said you were going to have a thing at the top of the episode that you'd say, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh. Well, we were just going to discuss how this New Orleans shenanigans, as we're calling it, is going to be released with the late episode 11 to make up for the fact that it's late. But also, you know, shit's been cray-cray.
Yes. Shit has been cray-cray.
So...
What episode are we recording now?
15.
15. Goddamn. I mean, excuse me. Gosh darn.
This is halfway through season 1.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
I'm very excited for what's to come, actually.
Me too. Also, not to talk about the past, not to live in the past, but Shannon and I started watching BuzzFeed Unsolved. Like, we went back to BuzzFeed from Watcher because we were talking about that. And I was like, oh, didn't they go to New Orleans? And they did, in fact. And I was thinking about this while we were there, about what episode it was and what hotel they went to. And they went and stayed at the Dauphine, Orleans.
Oh, nice.
Which, if you remember, like, I mean, we walked past it a shit ton, but that's also where Lulu's license is for.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious. And in the episode, they talk about how...
Oh, wow.
Like, it used to be a bunch of things, which we kind of figured out.
Yep.
And how part of it was a brothel.
Nice.
Well, it was a bordello, technically.
Well, whatever.
And I was like, holy shit, like, this makes so much sense. And they showed the license of the madam, I think her name was May Smith. And they showed the license, which was like same style as Lulu's is.
Wow.
Isn't
what
that
time
fun?
to be alive.
I was so excited. So next time I want to go there.
I didn't realize that that's what the hotel's name was. I remember it being a hotel, but like on that street, there was just so much.
Well, and it was also on Dauphine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense that that's what it's called. But yeah,
that's so exciting.
It's supposed to be super haunted. So
also, shame about Watcher.
Oh, they recanted all of that.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
They took it back?
They were still gonna do it, but it's just gonna be like Patreon, where the new stuff will come live on their streaming service first, and then it'll go to YouTube. Okay, that's kind of how Dropout does it too. Because everyone was like, "This is a terrible idea," and they were like, "Oh fuck." Yeah. So because everyone is sort of, dealing with a million different streaming services. Right now. Everyone was like, why would we want to pay for another one? And also a lot of people were like, I can't afford another one. Yeah. I watch on YouTube because I can't pay for anything. Because it's free. Yeah. And I also have ad blockers because they're annoying. So sorry you're not getting that ad revenue, or I guess sorry it's not enough. Anyway. Yeah. And like, I get it. If you want to make content without ads for your fans, like, that's one thing, but yeah. There's a point where some people need the ads and some people don't care about the ads because They're poor.
I have YouTube Premium. I could not live without it. And I'm glad that that money is going towards creators.
Yeah, I think Shannon does too.
I can't stand ads. It's terrible.
And that's like how I feel about Spotify too. Like once I had Spotify Premium, I never want to fucking go back.
Nope. That's why I can't do Pandora or anything like that. I cannot do ads. Nope.
Pandora used to not have ads back in the day. Well, YouTube didn't either, but
yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Now you have an unskippable 45-second ad.
When Netflix was like $4.
Oh, God. It was DVD only.
Even after that, it was still really cheap.
I remember it being $7.99 when they also took streaming. But that was like the both.
The combo, yeah, which I did have when it started off. Anyway.
Getting myself a comfort pillow because I feel like we're going to talk about scary things. Oh, God. Okay. So when I say I need a comfort pillow because we're going to talk about scary things, we're going to talk about Christian things. Christianity. So scary.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention, like, I wanted to add this disclaimer that, like, I am not a religious person. I don't have any religious trauma. Like, if anything, I resonate most with what a lot of people would call witchcraft, though I don't really identify as, like, a witch or Wiccan or whatever in that regard. I did grow up attending Church of England through my school and because of my grandma, but I didn't like go regularly, to her disappointment. And also my parents kind of introduced me to a variety of belief systems and were just like, you can choose whatever you want to believe.
Which is the way things should be.
And also, not really relevant in general, but maybe for this episode, I have not been baptized, but I have been christened.
That's fine.
And I can never remember what the difference is, no matter how many times I look it up.
I think they're two different sacraments.
I think baptism is a sacrament, but being christened is not.
Being christened is not, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like a naming, isn't it more about like a naming kind of thing?
I was just going to say it has more to do with like assigning your name to the Christian faith or something.
Yeah. And I was only christened because my mom knew someone who was like, oh, can I please do it for you? And she was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And so the one Bible that I do have is from when I was christened, and it has like a little plaque with my name in it and everything.
That's cute. I think I've talked about my religious background before, but we can get more into that during the discussion for sure.
Yeesh.
And by that, I mean 2 episodes from now. Sorry.
So I just wanted to be like, this is my background. So like, if any of my biases or like perspective show through, like I'm going to be talking about this as it's mythology because it is to me, and it might be the like, you know, the gospel truth to some people, but sorry, it's not to me. And that's mostly the point I was trying to make there. Also, it's really hard to dig deep into a lot of this stuff because of how much everything overlaps, like with religion and with mythology and even with fiction.
Right.
Like a lot of the stuff about some demons, especially the ones I'm going to be talking about today, it's just straight out of Paradise Lost or something, or Dante's Inferno, you know, it's all straight out of fiction. So it's kind of hard to tell what's what at a cursory glance, but I'll be giving it a try. And I have a series of things that I wanted to get out of the way at the top just to make the actual run through of demons easier to get through. So I'm going to be talking a lot about Solomon, the Lesser Key of Solomon, or the Testament of Solomon. I'm not really sure what the difference is, honestly, but they are both falsely attributed to being written by Solomon, the King Solomon in the Bible, King of ancient Israel. Yeah,
Solomon Bundy, Born on a Monday.
Also, my Solomon seal outside that I got from Kathy is popping off right now. It looks
Nice.
great. I'm so happy. It's like got its little white flowers on it. It's so cute.
Speaking of white, I'm currently turning into a ghost.
The sunshine,
I'm
yes.
turning into the sun. It's not even sunny.
It's really not. I think it's gonna storm at some point. So anyway, this text basically talks about how Solomon was able to build his temple after the Archangel Michael gave him a magical ring that enabled him to command demons.
Slay.
Potentially 72 of them, question mark.
Potentially 72.
Yes, which I'll talk about more later.
Oh yeah.
So that's like the gist of Solomon and these demons in any of these texts that come up. We'll also be revisiting the Malleus Maleficarum.
Okay.
So again, just to recap, that was the book of demonology written by our favorite big ol' incel Heinrich Kramer after he was embarrassed by a woman because she wasn't having his shit.
As I said before, good for her.
Yeah. And then the main background that I wanted to give is that there was a big war in heaven discussed in the book of Revelation, as well as in the Hebrew Bible and in the Dead Sea Scrolls, also in Supernatural, which we're going to talk about probably, or we have at least the potential to talk about a lot.
Oh God, yeah.
And this is the cause of Lucifer being cast from heaven, right? He led a rebellion against God, and those who remained loyal to God were led by the Archangel Michael, and the rebellion was maybe led by Lucifer, also unclear on that. But the rebellion is quelled, and Lucifer and those who participated in the rebellion were cast out into an abyss and banished there. And we now know that abyss as the Christian hell. And among those most powerful that were cast out, they became the 7 princes of hell, the most powerful of the demons and counterparts to the archangels, and each of the princes is associated with one of the 7 deadly sins. Isn't that so fun?
I love the 7 deadly sins. I also love the Supernatural episode about the 7 deadly sins.
I don't remember that episode.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. It's been a long time. I watched Supernatural only one time, and it was during lockdown, so it also already felt like a fever dream in itself.
Yeah.
But to note, the deadly sins are not things explicitly laid out in the Bible. They came about in like the 4th century by some guy. And then one book of demonology gave them a hierarchy. And then later, some other dude bro witch hunter guy named Peter Binsfield changed the hierarchy and also some of the associated demons. Because I guess he just thought he could do better. I don't know.
Yeah, he just wanted to shake things up a little bit, add his own flavor. What was that guy who I think I've asked this before, but there was the Sir whatever who changed up the Tala story because he was like,
"Oh,
this
Richard Burton."
Yeah, Sir Richard freaking Burton.
Yeah.
Because it is Sir Richard F. Burton.
Yeah.
Who just wanted to add some flavor.
Yeah.
So like I mean, we know that this happens in oral tradition. People just build on stuff.
Yeah.
It's obviously happening with writing too, and then it's like seen as law or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. Please stop. I cannot.
Okay. So all right, Blobbert. He's just gonna sit right here. I think he looks like a demon.
I was just gonna say that's a demon right there.
There is my demon. I also refer to my cat as that, but okay. So then each sin has a corresponding virtue as well, which I thought was fun. And I know, and that's why we during M covered the 7 deadly sins once, and they made a great point that each of the virtues were or have at one time been popular girls' names. Which I hated. So the 7 sins. Can you name all of them? What?
I was just gonna say, like, can't the 7 deadly sins then become boys' names?
That's what they said too.
Oh, wow.
They were like, hit me up when you're naming your kid like Sloth or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So sloth.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to go back to Full Metal Alchemist here. Okay. Sloth, pride,
Mm-hmm.
greed,
Mm-hmm.
envy,
Mm-hmm.
gluttony,
Mm-hmm.
lust,
Mm-hmm.
anger,
Wrath, yeah.
wrath.
Yay! So first, I'm gonna go through the first order and their associated demons and their corresponding virtue.
Okay.
So first we have Pride, the leader,
Mm-hmm.
the number one bad bitch, with Lucifer being the associated demon, and humility being the corresponding virtue. Then number two is envy, with kindness being the opposite, and Beelzebub being the demon associated with envy.
Kindness?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Isn't that
That's
interesting?
That's kind of interesting because I wouldn't see that as an opposite because one can fake kindness as a form of envy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, oh my God, I love your
Oh.
hair, or I don't know.
But like kindness kills kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, like the opposite. Well, okay, hold on. Let's get through these and then we'll come back
Okay,
to
yeah,
that.
sorry.
Wrath. I feel like kindness could be the opposite of all of these, honestly.
Right.
So wrath, the opposite is patience.
Valid.
And Satan is the demon of wrath. And then
Okay.
sloth, with the zeal being the opposite. And
Zeal?
zeal, yes.
Oh,
And
what a good word.
I know. And Abaddon is the demon associated with sloth.
Yeah.
And then we have greed with charity. Again, I think charity could be the opposite of a lot of these too, like kindness and charity, both. Charity is the virtue, and Mammon is the demon.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have gluttony, temperance.
Temperance Brennan.
Yeah. And Belphegor is the demon. And then lust, chastity.
Yeah, chastity.
Oh my God. And Asmodeus is the demon associated with lust.
Yes.
Chastity is my original Monster of the Week character, for the record. And she talks like that. She was a cheerleader.
I love it.
But like patience, charity, temperance, chastity, those are all girls' names.
Mm-hmm. Zeal.
Zeal, yeah. Where's your kid called humility?
I bet they exist.
Probably. Sunshine.
I can't say anything about that because Lily's middle name is Sunshine.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, it's Lily Sunshine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the original hierarchy. Then Peter fucking Binsfield. Peter Binsfield. I hate that name, I think. Sorry, my dad's middle name is Peter. It's a dumb name. The original, so that's, yeah. Peter Binsfield changed it to be Pride is still number one, with Lucifer still being the demon. Okay. Then number two is Greed. So Greed went from 5th to 2nd place. But Mammon is still the demon associated with Greed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lust went from 7th place to 3rd place.
Rude.
But is still associated with Asmodeus. And then Envy went from 2nd place to 4th place. And Beelzebub was changed to Leviathan.
Ooh.
And then Gluttony went from 6th place to 5th place. And Beelzebub was moved to Gluttony from Envy. And then Wrath went from 3rd place to 6th place, but is still associated with Satan. And then Sloth went from 4th place to 7th place, last place, and was associated with Belphegor. So Belphegor went from gluttony to sloth and replaced Abaddon.
Mm.
So ultimately, we lost Abaddon as a demon associated with the 7 sins and being a prince of hell, and gained Leviathan.
Man, but I love Elena Huffman. She's so great.
Is that who
Got
plays
bright
Abaddon
red
in
hair.
Supernatural?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say something and I cannot remember what it was. Whatever. I did want to mention that when you went, I heard it so clearly. It's like you were right next to my ear. I was like, oh. I was so shocked. I was like, whoa, whoa.
Gross.
Because, bless you.
Oh my god, Milo, that was the cutest little sneeze.
I know. He's been sneezing a lot lately. I think I might have to take him to the vet.
He probably has allergies.
Yeah. So Greed got moved up to 2nd place.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's fitting.
Yeah.
People can be pretty greedy, and that, like, pride and greed kind of encompass a lot of the other
Capitalism?
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's that saying about pride? It's like pride before the fall or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? I've heard it before, but I don't know what it means. There are a lot of like sayings or idioms or whatever, and I'm like, what?
It's like,
what are you saying?
It's like pride comes before the fall. Oh, it's a proverb.
Oh.
Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before fall.
Okay.
People who are overconfident or too arrogant are likely to fail.
Okay, so it means like literally before that person's end, they are prideful. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like some sort of symbolic thing, but it's like literally.
Yeah. Well, pride. It also sounds like they're a fall from grace, just like all these guys fell from grace, you know?
Okay. Cool. I know like green with envy. Doesn't that have to do with money or something?
Maybe I also might have something to do with color symbology. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Maybe it's also a proverb, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great little tidbits in religious texts.
There sure are.
There sure are.
And like, I get it. It's, you know, a guide to be a good person, but then you have crazy people who skew things and get too literal or interpret them.
They take their own interpretation, which is so irritating.
Yeah. So I also learned from that, and that's why your drink episode, that Satan and Beelzebub were the 2 demons most associated with witchcraft accusations, since we just talked about that, because Satan was associated with wrath, which was one of the main motives for someone supposedly using witchcraft against another person. And also by this time, this was after Peter, whatever his face was, changed things in the 16th century. It was like 15 something when he did. So like right before witchcraft panic really took off. So Beelzebub was associated with gluttony at that point, and Sabbaths would have been considered gluttonous because of all the feasting that happened during like Sabbath celebrations. So I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now you know some of the names of the demons I'm going to talk about today. I was going originally to include Satan and Lucifer both, but there's so much info about whether or not they're the same entity, and if Lucifer is actually a name or a descriptive phrase that translates to morning star, hence Lucifer, morning star, and then which one, if either of them or not both of them, is the devil. And then
that could be a whole conversation in and of itself. It's a lot.
Yeah, and then there's other names for the devil, including Prince of Darkness. Beelzebub is also listed as another name for the devil. Mephistopheles, Baphomet, this guy. Lord of the Flies, the Antichrist, Malak. Like, there's a bunch of different names, and it's... I mean, we'll talk about Beelzebub a little bit, so... But yeah, there's enough to go on for a whole episode, and I thought it'd be more fun to talk about the other princes of hell that aren't as prevalent in the zeitgeist, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All you need to know is that Lucifer in Supernatural... Oh, what is his name? He's played by, I think, Mark something. Not, obviously, not Mark Shepard, because he plays Crowley.
He sure does.
Pardon?
He's so good.
Looking it up, because I does have to know. Hello? Okay. Search. Mark Pellegrino.
Oh.
Mark Pellegrino. I'm just going to leave this Google open, because I'm probably going to be looking up people's names.
You think he's related to the Pellegrino water people?
I think I remember looking that up one time, and I don't believe that he is. I think that's just like one of those names that's like,
yeah,
you just are fortunate enough to share it with
that's fair.
A company. Yeah, played by Mark Pellegrino. And then Lucifer is played by Jared Padalecki when Sam is possessed.
Right.
By Lucifer.
And that's so much fun.
Yeah.
So... the first demon I'm going to talk about is Blobby. No. Is Belial.
Okay.
But Georgia, you didn't mention this as one of the princes of hell. No, I didn't. But
no,
he's
you didn't.
The first demon named in Year Zero, so I wanted to mention him. Year Zero is a song by Ghost, which most people will probably now know as the TikTok sound.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking. I didn't know the song name.
Yes, it's called Year Zero.
Asmodeus.
Martinus. Lucifer. Yep. So Belial is said to be a powerful king and to have been created first after Lucifer. So also a powerful and respected angel. They're of the same order. Until his fall from grace, as he was a formidable lieutenant in Lucifer's army. And he became a demon of lies and guilt, and is supposed to be able to induce any type of sin, especially those related to sex and lust, and he represents those carnal urges of humans. Why is he not associated with lust? Who knows? He's never been one of the princes of hell. But I don't know why.
I don't know why either. You said he was like a powerful general?
Yeah. Lieutenant, yeah.
Or a lieutenant. Lieutenant.
It's
because I was writing something down. He was in some sort of power of Lucifer's army.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So his name is derived from a Hebrew word used to characterize the wicked or worthless. So basically his name means lacking worth.
Damn.
Right? And he's associated with anyone who goes against the grain, including like atheists, the immoral, and also magicians.
Okay.
I'm sure that means like sorcery, magicians.
Sorcerer. All right,
like Aleister Crowley, but I'm picturing like the guys who stayed on the street corner doing card tricks.
Yeah, we got hella names now. We got magician, we got sorcerer, we got magic man, we got witch,
wizard,
warlock, wizard, yogi,
guru.
What am I missing? Guru. I know there's more in there. I just can't remember it. We need a glossary now.
I know.
And we need to give them our personal definitions.
Alchemist.
Oh, it's raining. It's pouring. It's raining, it's pouring. The old man is snoring.
I don't think it's raining here, but I bet it will be. Belial is mentioned in the Lesser Key of Solomon as the 68th of the 72 demons summoned by Solomon. And he's also mentioned in one of Aleister Crowley's grimoires, as well as Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, which I think we'll talk more about later in this season. In the Satanic Bible, Belial means without a master, symbolizing independence, self-sufficiency, and personal accomplishment, which in that branch of Satanism, I think, so like there's a Satanic church and the Satanic temple. Those are two different things. Mm-hmm. Anton LaVey is a Satanic church. They're the crazy ones. The Satanic temple are the ones that are super rational and make a lot of sense and raise a lot of money for charity and stuff.
Yeah, they're basically anti-religion.
Yes, and I love them. The Satanic Church is like Aleister Crowley and those guys who want to pretend that they are actually fucking magicians.
Gotcha.
But I think that there's like a lot of emphasis on the self is a thing in Church of Satan, I think, if I remember correctly. Going back to witchcraft a little bit, Belial is supposed to give the best familiars.
Okay.
And he's
like
supposed...
What?
I don't know. I didn't see any examples. It just said he gives the best familiars. Sounds like Trump, like, I'm going to give the best familiar.
Oh, God. I see. What I thought of was like, like a dragon. That would be so cool. But I think it may be like best familiars, but by
like the most loyal, the most, yeah.
Bruh.
Milo's like, it's me!
Most loyal, most obedient, strong,
yeah. Intuitive,
powerful. I don't know. All right, give me 1 second. Come on up, bitch.
He's like, I heard you talking about familiars. I am here. It is I.
'Tis I.
And he is supposed to be a servant of anyone born between February 18th and 22nd. Why?
What?
Could not tell you.
Huh.
There was no reason for that being said. Okay, so that's Belial.
Okay.
On to Beelzebub. Uh-huh. Religious scholars theorize that Baal-zebub, B-A-A-L, 2 words, Zebub, was supposed to be the name of a god in the Philistine city of Ekron, perhaps originally meaning Lord of the High Place. But then it was perverted to becoming Beelzebub, a derogatory term created by the Israelites becoming Lord of the Flies, implying that their god was a pile of shit.
Yep. Of course, all of it comes from the little itty-bitty sects and cults of Christianity and Judaism. Hell yeah. We love it. As most things are.
Yes. Or Roman cults or...
Yeah, Roman cults.
Mm-hmm. Which I guess those ones are technically Christian.
Islamic cults.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, Beelzebub is used sometimes by some people as another name for Satan, and also the Testament of Solomon describes Beelzebub as a prince of demons, seemingly synonymous with Lucifer, causing destruction, demon worship among men, lustfulness in priests, jealousy, and war. Sounds
That's
like
a lot of things.
Time.
That's a lot. Lustfulness specifically in priests.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be celibate.
I mean, we all know. I'm not even going to say it. We all know who priests are really lustful for.
In the 16th century, Beelzebub was described as leading a revolt against the devil and as being a chief lieutenant of Lucifer, which makes it sound like Lucifer and the devil are not the same in this version of things. Mm-hmm. And also as presiding over the Order of the Fly, which is one of the courts of hell, hence Lord of the Flies. A Court of Flies
A
and
Court of Flies and
Demon Poo. It's my upcoming fantasy series.
well, I think A Court of Flies and Demons would also just be
A Court of Flies and Demons. Yeah. Instead of fairies, it's just demons.
Yeah.
And there's
like poo monsters.
Yeah. More porn and poo monsters.
Yes. Between the two.
It's going to be a bestseller. Okay. Watch out, Sarah J. Maas. Mass, whatever.
Whatever.
In the 17th century, he was named along with Lucifer and Leviathan as being among the three most prominent fallen angels. But then in Paradise Lost, John Milton made his unholy trinity with Beelzebub, Lucifer, and another demon named Astaroth.
Ooh.
Not to be confused with the Lovecraftian god Azathoth.
Oh my god.
And he was originally associated with envy, like we talked about, but that was changed to gluttony. Some people also associated him with pride, again conflating him with Lucifer. And he's also been called the Prince of Idolatry.
Ooh.
The Pharisees accused Jesus of using Beelzebub's power to perform some of his miracles, especially the healing ones. And Beelzebub has also been identified as responsible in many cases of demonic possession since the 17th century.
Nice. We love demonic possession. I was just going to say, how could they say that the poopy god or the poopy guy or whatever is associated with Jesus's acts of healing? He communed with the Lord of the Dookies.
Yeah.
And was like, you may be healed. That doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, it's like, here, I'm going to smear some shit on it and all these maggots are going to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
I don't know.
Well, now I'm thinking about that. Thank you. You nasty.
Infected things. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Poop is enough. All right. I don't need to be thinking about no grubs, maggots, and such. No, thank you. It's fine.
Okay.
Please continue.
Leviathan. I just made that up. Thank you.
I loved it.
That's not part of the song. Leviathan appears in both Christian and Hebrew.
Hebrew. Time to learn about some Leviathans. That gives me like YouTube influencer vibes. Like, hey boo.
It gave me the vibe of that video of that furry that I sent, that TikTok of that furry guy that I sent you that one time.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, so Hebrew, Christian and Hebrew mythology, theology. Oh my God, let me start over. Leviathan appears in both Christian and Hebrew theology as a sea serpent and the embodiment of chaos.
Love it. I love all the snakes.
I'm here for it.
I do not like snakes. I am so afraid of them.
I love snakes.
I'm loving the consistent mythology around snakes.
I still really want to get a Medusa tattoo.
Do it. There's a lot of cool variations.
And yes, I know what Medusa tattoo symbolize. Thank you. And that's part of the reason I want one.
I don't think anyone was doubting that.
Well, yeah, that's
at least all of the
no one that listens to this show.
All of the 2 people that listen to this podcast will know.
Yeah. Okay, so he's also been compared to dragon mythology or other world serpent mythologies. This could also be a whole episode in itself, but I'm just going to hit the highlights. So, for example, Leviathan's been compared to the stories of the Midgard serpent, Jormungandr. Whatever.
Is it Jormungandr or like Yerm? It's like YRR. Is that right?
No, it's JOR.
J?
Yeah.
Your like Jurgadurgadurgan. Okay. Listen, I feel like I have a right. It's somewhere deep in my blood. In whatever 1/12 of whatever is me. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, beyond that, go ahead.
Or Vritra in Hinduism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Or Tiamat in Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Big fan of all of these.
And there's so many more. I mean,
Yeah,
like, you
literally.
could literally go on and on.
It reminds me of that, like, how all world mythologies have the flood story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all world mythologies seem to have the serpent story.
Yeah, and they're either, like, worshipping or honoring / revering the serpent, while also, like, being afraid of it, being wary. It's really great because I think serpents have just not really changed for like millennia.
Yeah.
You know, since like actually before there were ever humans.
Like so in Doctor Who, yeah. The lizards.
The lizard people.
Yeah. So if you remember, Leviathan was not originally a prince of hell or associated with a deadly sin, but later replaced Beelzebub's association with envy. Leviathan is also associated with the Hellmouth, or the jaws of hell, which devour the souls of the damned on Judgment Day. And motifs of this have been found in Anglo-Saxon art dating back to the 800s. Isn't that crazy?
That's great. Very cool.
Yeah. Also,
its jaws were the gates to hell. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
There's like some conflation, it seems like. Like Leviathan is sometimes associated with this creature that, yeah, its jaws become the gates of hell on Judgment Day. And that's how big it is.
Yeah. I know in Supernatural, the Leviathans have like the giant gaping maw and then like eat people and I think sends them to hell. I just remember there being like a lot of black goo with the Leviathans. Yeah.
Well, I thought that's when we'll hold on, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
In Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, again, Leviathan is named one of the 4 crown princes of hell, and it uses the Hebrew name for Leviathan in the sigil. So like it starts at the bottom and it goes counterclockwise, which
to me that looks like clockwise.
In the sigil
it's probably
Baphomet. Yeah, it's this way. So like that says Leviathan in Hebrew.
Okay.
For anyone not seeing the videos, I'm wearing a shirt with Baphomet on it. Okay. Again, I want to do a whole episode on this crazy shit. Obviously, Leviathan has become a word for any sea monster in general, or sometimes a big-ass whale, like a Moby Dick. Leviathan is the name of the Atlantean war machine in Atlantis, one of the greatest animated movies of all time. Thank you.
It's also a really terrifying sea creature in this video game that I can't remember the name of, and I'm going to be so mad when I think of it later.
Well, my next note says it's a creature in the Final Fantasy series.
It's not that one.
That's not what you're talking about.
No, I'm sorry.
And then you already mentioned Full Metal Alchemist, but Leviathan is the demon representing envy in Full Metal Alchemist. And shows up a bunch of other times in pop culture, but obviously the worst part of Supernatural is Leviathan's story arc.
Like, honestly, inarguably the worst part.
The worst part. So in Supernatural, they are freed from purgatory and they're said to be God's original creations that he made before angels and humans and everything else. And they can shapeshift into any human after they get DNA.
I remember that. Okay.
And I think the black goo comes in because they're susceptible to borax. So when you put the cleaner on them, they like explode into the black goo.
Okay. Yeah.
Which also, like, why? Why fucking borax?
Because it's funny.
I mean, this is why it's the worst part of Supernatural, though. Oh, now it's pouring down. Holy
We're getting
shit.
nothing here. I just looked up that game. It's Subnautica.
Oh, I've never heard of that game.
Also, I do remember the main Leviathan guy. His name was Dick because he was a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Which is funny because like the whole whale dicks being sea monsters thing as well.
No, he was played by James Patrick Stewart. I do remember that name.
Not to be confused with Patrick Stewart.
No, not to be confused with Sir Patrick Stewart. This Stewart is the UART way. Oh, he was on General Hospital for like a really long time. That's right. He's like mostly a what's that? Like a telenovela.
Soap opera?
Soap opera. He's like a soap opera person. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's Leviathan. Next up, disappointingly, is Belphegor.
Disappointingly? Good lord.
Yeah, I really couldn't find too much like at a cursory glance. All I can tell you is that in Jewish demonology, Belphegor is the archdevil, and Kabbalah portrays him as a demon who helps people make discoveries, like come up with inventions and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But also through that process, seducing people with riches. So like they have these ideas for these inventions that will make them rich. And somehow that's bad. And like I said at the top, he was originally associated with gluttony, but became associated with sloth, believing to tempt with laziness. But that doesn't really fit with this whole like inventor personality. So I don't really understand.
I don't get that. Maybe there was like a mistranslation or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Something in it was like, I don't know. It was just
maybe
weird.
it has to do something with like intention and not just like that specific thing, but like intention to like the intention to do something for the greater good or whatever is actually the intention to just make a shit ton of money, and that could like be anything really, like the intention to go volunteer at like an animal shelter or something, so then you can get volunteer hours and get into a good college instead of actually doing it because you give a shit about animals.
Yeah.
I knew someone who did that in high school.
Yeah. Similarly, Mammon, could not tell you that much. In the New Testament, the word mammon is believed to refer to money and material wealth or anything that promises wealth or can be interpreted as greedy, but it wasn't personified into a demon until the Middle Ages, and then, unsurprisingly, became associated with greed. So, yeah, not too much outside of a lot of etymology regarding that evolution of it being a word referring to wealth and then becoming personified. But he does appear a lot in pop culture. Not a lot of things that I recognized, but I did see, I don't remember this, but Mammon plays a pretty big part in the plot of Constantine, the Keanu Reeves movie version.
Yeah.
Because Tilda Swinton is Gabriel, and Gabriel wants to unleash hell on Earth by releasing Mammon. And that's like the plot of the movie. Also, Mammon is an archdevil in several D&D campaigns.
This is true.
Isn't
That's probably where I've heard the name. Because I was like, you keep saying this, and I really have never like thought of this thing as like
and I don't
being
think
a prince of hell. And
no, and I don't think it was mentioned in like Supernatural or anything either.
No, not that I can remember.
Yeah,
and they really tried to reference like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, unless it did come up in that Seven Deadly Sins episode, but I don't remember anything about that.
Here we go. So. Yeah, actually. Also known as Hell's Dealmaker, is a high-ranking demon and the first crossroad demon to ever exist. He was created and turned by Lucifer after Lilith, the princess of Hell. He was originally the king of the crossroads before leaving Hell and living life on Earth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. That's, occupation Hell's Dealmaker.
Next up.
Yeah, Mammon.
Asmodeus!
Asmodeus.
Okay. Which means wrath plus demon.
Oh.
So, why isn't Asmodeus the demon associated with wrath?
I don't know.
Asmodeus claims that he was born of a human mother and an angel father.
Oh my god.
Back to Solomon, it sounds like Asmodeus was the demon who was actually invoked to aid in the construction of this temple that Solomon was building. But because Asmodeus is one of the kings of hell under Lucifer and has 72 legions of demons under his command, I was wondering if this is where we get the 72 demons in the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Probably.
Like one from each legion? I don't know.
Yeah.
And the demon appears and predicts Solomon's kingdom will one day be divided. In the Malleus Maleficarum, Asmodeus was considered the demon of lust. And some demonologists in the 16th century assigned various things to different demons. So, like, November is considered to be the month where Asmodeus's power is strongest. But then also some people associate February Aquarians with him.
Okay.
Which, like, I've dated a lot of February Aquarius men, and they are all fucking demons. So, he incites gambling and is the overseer of all gambling houses in the court of hell. And some consider him to be a prince of revenge, probably because his name means wrath plus demon.
Yes.
In the Key of Solomon, he is described as strong, powerful, and appears with 3 heads. The first is like a bull, the second like a man, and the third like a ram or a goat. The tail of a serpent, and from his mouth issue flames of fire. Also, he is said to sit upon an infernal dragon holding a lance with a banner.
Good lord.
Governing his 72 legions.
Fuck. Okay, I'm sorry. I did want to say, I really love a good multi-headed thing.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan. And it's reminding me of like a chimera.
Yeah, with like the different sort of animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
The saddest episode ever. The Chimera episode.
Yeah.
Asmodeus is one of the main antagonists in season 13 of Supernatural.
Really? Oh, I never watched season 13. 13 through 15 I didn't watch. I watched up to the episode Baby, and then I stopped. I was like, I can't.
The car one?
Yeah, it was so good. Which I think was episode 5, season 12. And I've been meaning to finish it. I really have. I'm like, I need to push myself to do it. But I genuinely think I need to rewatch the whole thing.
Yeah, probably. Oh, season 13 has the animated crossover Scooby-Doo episode. That one's really fun.
Right. That's right. I forgot about that one.
The season follows Sam and Dean, who, after locating and saving Lucifer's offspring, try using his powers. Oh, yeah. I remember that. That's probably why we didn't remember that much about Claire Novak, because that's season 13.
Oh.
Yeah, season 13 is all about Jack. That's right.
Who?
Lucifer's son.
Okay. I'm really gonna have to watch this now. See, I know. As soon as I do, it's game over. I think I've mentioned this to you before, that like that was the hyperfixation for me for like actually years, and I could think about and talk about almost nothing but Supernatural. It was kind of depressing.
I don't see anything in here about Asmodeus though. Like Rowena's back.
Asmodeus, season 13, Prince of Hell. The 4th Prince of Hell was a Prince of Hell and a retired demonic general. He was formerly acting as temporary King of Hell until Lucifer's return. Once he discovered Lucifer was weakened, he decided to permanently take the throne and imprison his father along with Castiel to help prepare for the impending invasion of the Apocalypse World version of the Archangel Michael.
Oh my god.
it was revealed that following the apocalypse, Asmodeus captured Gabriel and used his grace to gain a great deal of power. During an attack on the Men of Letters bunker to recapture the escaped Gabriel, Asmodeus was killed by him, leaving the Princes of Hell extinct.
Don't remember any of that.
Me neither. I haven't seen it. Let's see. Appearances. He was mentioned in freaking a lot of episodes, but he only actually appeared twice. No.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Asmodeus is depicted as an evil deity and king of the 9 hells in most published material for Dungeons & Dragons. And my favorite appearance on October 3rd, 2021, an episode of Puppet History mentioned Asmodeus' name and later a 3-headed puppet rendition of Asmodeus. Both performed the customary episode ending song and featured in the episode's, this is how it's described in Wikipedia, plot-heavy finale. And you haven't seen it, so I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's amazing.
I feel like this is the most you've talked about Puppet History ever. Like in the past few weeks.
A lot of it's been relevant.
Okay.
Also, I did a big rewatch not that long ago.
Okay.
Okay, that's Asmodeus. Last but not least, we have
your mom.
She's a demon, yeah. She's never gonna listen to this.
No.
Abaddon.
Yay! Okay.
Which in Hebrew means destruction or doom. And so, like Mammon, Abaddon was originally just a word used to refer to a place of destruction, and also to refer to the fiery plain in the land of the dead, and then later became personified as Abaddon, the angel of the abyss. And he also has a Greek counterpart, Apollyon.
Apollyon?
Yeah,
oh.
Which means the destroyer.
Oh. Good Lord.
I love it. And Apollyon was also known as king of the grasshoppers. And grasshoppers are a lot like locusts. And Abaddon becomes associated with plagues of locusts, like the one true. Moses dealt with in Egypt. So it's not surprising that he's often depicted as a giant, overwhelmingly frightening locust.
I love that. I do. I really do. And now I'm picturing like a giant grasshopper with like a human face and like red horns.
Like the little trident.
Yeah.
With a pointy tail.
Yeah.
He is often still talked about as more of a force of nature than an actual personified being, even though he can be a personified being, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
His name alone is among the most feared, even by all other beings in heaven and hell, Satan himself wishing to avoid confrontation with Abaddon.
I mean, I wouldn't want to deal with a bunch of bugs, so...
Yeah, this one was interesting because it seems like he is also a being of duality, like he's still an angel of judgment, maybe associated, or like he was at one point the angel Muriel. Unclear again on that. Destroying to enact God's will, but also still commanding the horde from the abyss that will rampage the earth before Judgment Day. And neither angels nor demons can be sure of whose commands he will follow when that time comes. And some believe he is the only being who can ultimately seal Satan, which would make him a righteous being. And some believe that he is death or associated with death because death is neutral and unbiased.
Yeah. And then Abaddon was the one that got pushed out from Sloth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Belphegor is now associated with Sloth.
Yeah.
But
it's just,
something about him also like Sloth, yeah.
Confusing to me.
It seems like none of the demons really represent Sloth that well, and so they just kind of like shoved one in there. Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them don't really make sense, but
Yeah, sloth is like laziness or unwilling to whatever, do anything. I don't know.
yeah. Abaddon does appear in seasons 8 and 9 of Supernatural,
Yes.
as you mentioned. Doctor Who, The Impossible Planet, one of the best episodes.
So
The
good.
Beast in the Pit says, "Some have called me Abaddon," implying that Abaddon and Satan are the same. And Abaddon is a boss enemy in Final Fantasy VIII, and also a sword in World of Warcraft, if you're that kind of nerd. And yeah, that's what I got, man.
That's a lot.
That's 9 whole demons, I
That's
think.
a lot. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I really did not know about all of this outside of Supernatural. So, like, pretty much most of this knowledge, other than like the concept of the 7 deadly sins existing and
Yeah.
the princes and stuff, the concept existing, I didn't really know none of that.
Hell yeah.
So,
We're here to learn new things.
yeah, I don't know. I never really learned about all of that when I was growing up as a Christian. We learned about like sinning and, you know, the 7 deadly sins kind of like in abstract.
Well, like I said, they're not pulled from the Bible. It's like a bunch of other dudes who after the fact were like, we're gonna say this is sinful. And also and That's Why You Drink, and mentioned that they're the 7 deadly sins, but they're not unforgivable.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can still seek forgiveness for committing these sins.
Yeah, I know. In church, there's like a whole section of the whole ceremony ritual where you confess your sins, and the priest who is like, or priest, pastor, whatever, is acting. God is acting through them to, you know, say, "Oh, you're good."
Yeah. Or you can just buy indulgences.
Sins. Yeah, you're good, homie.
Oh, you're going to give me money? You. We forgive you.
Yes. Yeah, it really depends on who you're with.
Yeah, well, if you're Catholic.
Yeah, if you're Catholic, for sure. Tithes. Yeah, I mean, in the Anglican Church, like the Church of England and Episcopalians, we have the Book of Common Prayer, which is outside of the Bible. It's just a set of, you know, the ceremonies and crap that you got to do.
I'll be bringing like 4 of those home ultimately, because my grandma still had her grandma's book of
Common Book
of prayers, and it was dated to like 19 something. I can't remember. It was really old.
It's sad, but I can like genuinely recite almost every single one of the Eucharistic rituals.
# religious trauma. Sorry, Mom.
I mean, I really liked it when it was happening.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, well, I don't really need that in my life. I don't really associate with any religious practices. I don't really believe in a God. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. This is how you're finding out. But you probably already guessed that. To my understanding, really the whole point of religion and ritual in a society is, it's kind of a two-parter. It's to wrest control by creating a group that all does the same thing and believes the same thing. And 2, well, so that's from the people in power's perspective. And then the people who are under that power, their purpose for it is to feel a sense of belonging and to have a tradition and a routine.
Well, and I think a lot of the original purposes for these things too was to explain things, because science didn't have the answer. Science didn't exist, but we don't need that in our society because we have science. We understand how the world works now.
Exactly. It helped like understand feelings too, and now we have psychology, right? Like, yeah. I think we should definitely talk about this more in a couple episodes. But
and like demonic possessions explaining mental health issues.
Right.
I also have a follow-up question, but we can save that for the discussion as well.
Yes. All right,
Okay.
everybody, take care. Beelzebub, Asmodeus,
Thanks, Ghost.
Lucifer.
I love you, Tobias. Okay, bye.
Well, that concludes this week's broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you wish to stay in touch, reach out to us at broadcastfromthebelfry@gmail.com or stalk us on Instagram at broadcastfromthebelfry. Again, I hope you've enjoyed our little show. Please rate and review. And until next week, stay spooky.